Okay guys, so Captain Budgie is a filthy liar. She lied to us, she's been lying to us the whole time, and she's actually secretly working for Mr. Stitchy and the Insolence. Now, as you probably know, if you've already beaten and completed Chapter 8, you know that Budgie actually kind of lied to us a lot of times. So we're going to be breaking all this down. We're going to be talking about Captain Budgie, and we're going to be talking about how and why she's working for Mr. Stitchy and the Insolence. So if you guys don't know, Captain Budgie was actually introduced into the game a long time ago, about a year ago, actually a little less than a year ago. She was one of the winners of a fan skin contest along with Ghosty. I'll probably make a video about Ghosty later on. And I don't think any of us was expecting her to actually show up in the actual Piggy storyline, but Chapter 7 came out, the boat came out, and there she was, Captain Budgie on the boat, the captain of the boat. It was a big surprise. And at first, she seemed like a pretty well-rounded character. You know, she seemed pretty nice, obviously a little distrustful at first, but obviously everyone will be in a zombie apocalypse type scenario, and everyone kind of assumed she was just a good guy, like a good captain, just, you know, piloting the ship. Well, we were wrong. So if you've already played through Chapter 8, you probably already know what I'm talking about here, but for the people that have not yet, I'm going to break this down for you. So at the end of Chapter 7, Budgie shows up. She's like, hey, you want to get across the North Sea? That's no problem. I can take you across it in my boat, but there is one big issue. We don't have enough fuel to get across the entire North Sea. I'm going to need you guys to get me some. And then she basically says there's a bunch of fuel down in the bottom of the boat, but the problem is there's a lot of infected down there, and she can't go down there and get the fuel herself. And that's where Willow and the player volunteers to go down to the bottom of the boat, you know, run around the infected, escape the infected, and of course get the fuel. And of course at the end of Chapter 8, that's exactly what happens. You and Willow go down, you break into the fuel container, you get the fuel, you get stuck in the fuel container for a little bit, and then of course you get rescued by the rest of the group. And then of course Captain Budgie says, hey, we arrived at Doveport, we are here. Now this is really weird for a few reasons. Number one, did Minitoon mess up here? Is this an error in Minitoon's story writing abilities? Because if we needed the fuel to get across the ocean, then how did we get across the ocean without getting the fuel? Because we were stuck down there in the fuel container with the fuel and nothing happened, but by the time we got out, we were already there. So that means we never actually even needed the fuel. So did Minitoon mess up in writing here? Is this a plot hole, or maybe Budgie lied to us? Spoiler alert, Budgie did in fact lie to us. There's actually some notes hidden around the map that talk about Budgie lying about some more things. Like for example, this note here that says all the pirate talk that Budgie says, like calling everyone a landlubber and stuff like that, it's actually fake. She's just doing it for morale, just to make everyone happy. She's not actually a pirate. There's also this really weird note by Bobby that says she told us many different versions of the accident. We don't know which one to believe. Something isn't right with the captain, I'll say. So why is Budgie lying to the crew? Why would she have a reason to lie to the crew? No, of course, the accident the note is referring to is how Budgie lost her arm. She tells us that she lost it in a swimming accident, but of course, now we know that she actually got attacked by an infected. Now, I'm not going to go too much into this because I've already made a video on this with Zizzy and Budgie and Mr. Stitchy and all that. It's on the channel if you want to check it out. But basically, Budgie got attacked by an infected on her arm. She got scratched or bit or something, and of course, she, well, lobbed off her arm, and that's why she has a hook now. It's not actually because she's a pirate, it's because she got attacked by an infected. And for some reason, she lied about this to everyone else. So she lied about her arm, she's lied about being a pirate, and now she's also lied about the fuel. Now the question would be, why would she lie about the fuel? Well, the only possible reason is that she wants us to get infected. She told us that there were infected down there, and if we didn't need the fuel down there, then why would she send us down there? We didn't get anything else while we were down there, unless she wanted us to actually get attacked. She was hoping that we wouldn't make it. That's the only possible scenario. And what I really find weird is that none of the other characters in the story actually realize this. They kind of just go along with it. Like, they don't say anything about this at all, which is really weird. Maybe they'll mention it in the next chapter or something. I find that really weird that none of the other characters are like, wait a minute, I thought we needed the fuel to get across the ocean, but maybe not. Anyway, when it comes to Budgie's true intentions here, they're actually pretty dark. I think it's safe to say that we can all agree that Budgie's definitely not a good guy. I'm pretty sure that's pretty out in the open already. Now, there's 3 more notes on this map that actually give us a hint as to what's going on with Budgie. For example, there's one note here that says, I'm sorry, and it's by Captain Budgie. It just says, I'm sorry, so she's sorry about something. What is she sorry for? And then, of course, there's 2 Mr. Stitchy notes that say she, and literally just says she on it, and then there's another one that just says knows, and just says knows on, she knows. Now, being that these notes were here before we got there, before the whole group, you know, Willow, the player, Pony, before we all got there, that means that these notes are talking about one of the she's, you know, the females that are in the boat crew. And well, if we look at the boat crew, we've got Bobby. I'm pretty sure Bobby's not a female. We've got Pepper, which is the pig, also not a female. This is a guy. We've got Kenneth, also not a female. That's a dude. And then, of course, we've got Archie, which is also a dude. The only female in that crew is Budgie. Captain Budgie. That's the only female in the entire boat. So these notes that says she knows has to be talking about Captain Budgie, which means Captain Budgie knows about Mr. Stitchy, or maybe the Insolence, either one. Now, I believe that Captain Budgie is working with the Insolence and Mr. Stitchy, and I'll tell you why. There's a few things that literally don't add up. More things that don't add up to Captain Budgie's story. Captain Budgie pulled the boat into the harbor, or into the port in Chapter 7. That's how the boat got there, and that's how we got picked up. But Bobby, the infected pig, was literally in the captain's quarters. He's sitting right there next to where you control the boat, which means if Budgie was going to go into that room and control the boat in order to pull into the port, that means that she would have had to get through Bobby, but Bobby's right there. Why didn't Bobby attack her? Bobby's infected. Why would he not go after Budgie? How did Budgie get past all these infected to pull the boat into the port to get us? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. As we know from the Piggy story, if any of the piggies see us, they immediately go for us. So the question is, why weren't the infected going for Captain Budgie? Why is Captain Budgie the only one that made it? Well, I think the simple reason is that the infected are being controlled. By who? By the Insolence. And if Captain Budgie's working with the Insolence, it would make sense that, well, the Insolence would not have the infected attack Captain Budgie. That's how she was able to steer the boat, even though Bobby's just sitting right there. He's just chilling. So if Captain Budgie knows Mr. Stitchy and is working with Mr. Stitchy, that would also explain the note here that says, I'm sorry. Maybe what ended up happening is Captain Budgie got infected. Maybe she got attacked by a piggy, an infected piggy, and in return, Mr. Stitchy was like, hey, I'm gonna help you out. Budgie cuts off her arm and starts working with the Insolence, who controls the infection, so that, well, they can work together. It's a partnership kind of deal, which explains why she wanted us to go down and also get infected. She was sending us down to the bottom of the boat to get infected so that we would increase the infected numbers so that Mr. Stitchy would have us. That's why she sent us down there. This all makes sense now, right? So this note that says, I'm sorry, it's Captain Budgie being sorry for literally giving up her crew in order to help Mr. Stitchy. That also explains how the infection got on board, because if they're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, where's the infection gonna come from? It's been months since the infection started, so if the crew was fine and they were in the middle of the ocean, what is it? Did I eat an infected fish? Like, no, dude. Hi there, Editor Creekcraft here. This also actually explains the radio. The Insolence is sending a message through the radio, which is right by the captain's room. And the captain of the ship is Budgie, and if they're sending a message to Budgie, that means they must know who Budgie is, and maybe Budgie is on their side. I bet Captain Budgie and Mr. Stitchy intentionally infected the crew. That was the whole point. Now, what's also interesting here is if Captain Budgie knows the Insolence and Mr. Stitchy, well, maybe she knows Zizzy and where Zizzy is. I mean, after all, she knows, right? Okay, so I literally just noticed this as I was editing this video, but notice in Chapter 7 at the end, Budgie actually refers to this infection, the sickness, as Davy Jones' curse. But if she's not an actual pirate and she's just using this fake talk, could it mean that the Davy Jones she's referring to is actually Mr. Stitchy, and Mr. Stitchy is the reason for all of this? Just something to think about. Now, there's still a lot that just doesn't really make sense here. Like, for example, why in the world the characters just were like, you know what, Captain Budgie just kind of sit us down here to get infected, but you know what, we're just not going to mention it all. It's fine, don't even worry about it. There's some things that just don't really add up and make a lot of sense right now. But from the pieces of the puzzle that we have, I'm pretty certain in saying what I just said is at least somewhat correct. Let me know what you think down below, though. Captain Budgie's definitely working with the Insolence, definitely not a good guy, and maybe we'll see what she's up to in the next chapter. Because, I mean, after all, if she's trying to get more people infected so that the Insolence has more infected to fight the army, which we talked about in yesterday's video, it would make sense. All of this would then make sense. So that's the theory I'm going with. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next theory, and of course some more videos on this topic. And of course, keep using star code RealCreek when you're buying your Roblox and Roblox Premium. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!